Hey everybody, Rick DeLuca here with the DeLuca Real Estate Group. And today I have with me, again, a returning guest, uh, Ellis Tran
Yes.
with PadSplit. Great to have you here again.
Yes, thanks for having me back.
Hey Ellis, so we talked about PadSplit last time
Yeah.
and the advantages, especially like just getting into real estate investing.
Yeah.
Remind us though again, real
Yes.
fast, what in essence is PadSplit?
Yeah, so we're like the Airbnb of co-living. We're the tech platform, but above that, our model is essentially the multi-family model in the single family asset.
There you go. So let me break it down again. So it's not short term. It's people staying there like 6 months, and you
On
said
average, yeah.
on over to up to over a year
Right.
on average. But they can stay, of course, longer.
As long as they want.
Yeah. So they're in there. You have multiple people. Maybe it's a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, and we've done some conversions to add your last time you're telling us up to 8 rooms.
Right. The biggest pad split we have is an 11-bedroom
Oh
pad
my
split.
gosh, it gets bigger every time.
It depends, yeah.
So 11. So you have this opportunity to keep your fixed expenses, but increase your revenue
Right.
without buying like another property.
Right.
You can literally add on. So
Yes.
it's a great business model.
Yeah. Yeah.
So something that fits what we're seeing here now, the need for affordable housing. We see other ways, people are doing manufactured homes. We're working on a project like that as well. But with PadSplit, it's really kind of an easy entry
Yeah.
because it's there. Maybe a little bit of slight modification to the home
Right.
to add those extra rooms.
Right.
But again, like you said, you have all those connections, the contractors,
Right.
everything
Right.
to do it. Okay, so we got our PadSplit. We're making money.
Yep.
You were saying how much was it on average?
Right under 900 a month for a room with a shared bathroom.
Okay, in Phoenix market, $900 a month on average. So we got that. We're making money. Let's say we got 8.
Yep.
Just kind of make it easy. 7,200 a month. And now what? We started. We got them in.
Yep.
You helped us with all that,
Right,
all the
right.
the leases, everything,
Yep.
the checks,
Yep.
getting the people in.
Yep.
Now what?
Yeah, I mean, it takes us about 5 days for us to find the first member to move into a new pad split.
Oh.
So it's a pretty quick process. To get 100% occupied, we're seeing about 45 days.
Okay, let's stop and think about that.
It's fast.
It's fast, but not only that, I was just speaking with someone recently, and they had a house they were renting, and people moved out, and to get somebody back in took like 3 months. Okay, but again, to get fully occupied,
Yeah. 45 days.
45 days,
Yeah.
but 5 days to get somebody in, you're already cash flowing.
Yeah.
So you're not sitting there paying all the expenses. You're getting cash flow
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Yeah.
So that's-
Multi-family model than single-family asset. So you're hedged against vacancy. You're hedged against eviction. You're hedged against a non-paying member in a single room because you have the other 7 rooms that are paying.
it takes a lot of the risk out.
It does.
So you kind of think about it, you're like, oh wow, seems like a lot of work, a lot of people, that thing. But honestly, it's actually taking a lot of the risk out of being a landlord,
Right.
doing rentals,
Right.
because you're diversifying.
Yes.
And I guess
Yeah.
that's the key, right? With investing, diversification.
Right.
They always tell you, like, you get stocks, get bonds, get cash, get
Right.
other things. You're like literally diversifying,
Right.
but still just having, a lot of people count it by the doors, right? How many
Yes,
doors do you own?
yes,
How many
yes.
doors do you have?
Yeah.
You have one door still.
Yeah. Success isn't guaranteed though, because this still is a hospitality business.
Right.
You still need to operate the property very closely.
Okay.
But times 8, essentially, because the added element also of strangers essentially living together, there's a learning curve to co-living management. But if you need a property manager, we have some in our network that understand
Okay.
the co-living management game. And
So
they
it's just like being a regular landlord, you can self-manage or you can have a property manager.
Exactly. Self-managing, if you don't have any property management for co-living, could be a big learning curve. If you're not good with people, if you're not good with providing a good experience, it's going to be rough.
Right. Because now instead of just having one customer, one tenant,
Yeah.
you have multiple.
Exactly.
All right. So,
Yeah, so-
what are some things that we should be on the lookout, be prepared for?
Sure. Within the first 24 hours of somebody applying to move into a room, you have that time period to get in touch with them. I would, or have your property manager do that. Ask them if they have any experience co-living. if they agree to the house rules, to the PadSplit membership guidelines, ask them how long they intend to stay. Just these questions to kind of understand what kind of tenant or member they'll be. Getting the first few in that understand the expectations is everything, because that sets the tone for the culture of the home. Anybody who moves in after that will either fit in well or have conflict and probably end up moving out.
Right. Okay.
So you are dealing again with people at the end of the day, and you want to control the dynamic and just
Right.
set it off on the right foot as best as you can.
Yeah. I mean, but it's not like you're doing a personality assessment on
No,
everybody. You're
no.
you're kind of going with just the data, the
Right.
application. You're not really. You're just picking off. Are you qualified?
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
And your gut. Like
Essentially, yeah, ask them a few questions that might give you a better idea of what kind of member they'll be. But from there, yeah, anybody who applies and qualifies can move in.
like let's talk a little bit about like who would not be a good person to get in your pets. But like, okay, pets.
Yeah. Pets are not allowed unless they're approved emotional support animals,
Okay.
which is controversial a little bit in itself, or certified service animals, which are legitimate,
Right.
animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that can be an issue,
Yeah,
when we think
yeah.
about rentals.
Mhm.
What other things on the operations side? Uh,
Getting the property set up properly is everything. So, in our model, you want to remove conflict as much as you can, and that usually happens in the common areas,
okay.
specifically in the fridge, bathrooms, washer dryers, common areas. So for the fridge, definitely label the main fridge in the kitchen. If you can, supply a second one in the kitchen as well, and maybe even supplying mini fridges in the rooms themselves. Putting a second set of washer and dryer, depending on how many bedrooms are in there. Consider making the master bathroom a shared one.
Okay.
Essentially, getting rid of the master
So one person doesn't have like their
private,
own.
exactly, and that will probably benefit the rest of the home. So removing conflict in the bathrooms themselves, supplying each room with maybe a desk and a chair, with a full-size mirror so they can get dressed in their rooms instead of the bathrooms.
So they
Stuff
stay
like
in
this.
their area
Exactly.
a little bit more versus the common areas.
Exactly. I mean, outside of the rooms, as far as the common areas go, you have a dining area for 3 or 4, and then maybe a coffee shop style seating. We've done this long enough in the company to have this saying: "Nothing good happens on couches."
Oh. That's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Get some T-shirts made.
Exactly.
So yeah, because what would happen? Like people sit there, get
They'll-
comfortable. Maybe somebody's drinking or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. You never know. Maybe they're watching something on their device too loud, or
Yeah.
they might fall asleep there, and it just causes
Yeah.
issues.
Even
Yeah.
in your own family, sometimes that
Yeah, exactly.
might bug you. And so
Exactly.
yeah, you can see how that happens because you're still at home,
Yeah.
but it's not just your home.
Right.
You're sharing it.
Right. Right.
So okay, let's talk a little bit about the maintenance. Like obviously you maintain the home,
Yeah.
but how do you handle like maybe there's a yard.
Yeah.
How do you handle that? Like, do you have to have landscapers?
Yeah, yeah, ideally. I've seen plenty of pad splits that have, a renovated nice interior and the yards are bare. No patio furniture, no nothing. And for a pad split, that's okay, actually.
Oh, okay.
Most of the times, these pad splits have neighbors, and so we actually want to discourage members from hanging out in the yards and causing issues potentially with the neighbors. On the other hand, there are some pad splits that back up against a commercial space, or they're sandwiched between two Airbnbs. There's a really nice one in Glendale that I'm thinking about, which used to be a luxury Airbnb with a giant yard,
Oh.
pool, fire pit, all in the works. For that kind of setup, it could work, but it's property dependent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. So don't go in just like this is what I'm going to be.
Yeah.
More or less, look at the property you're going to get. If the
Yes.
numbers work.
Yeah.
And then kind of reverse design.
Right, and then talk
reverse
to me
engineer.
because I'll give you an idea of what kind of property it could be and give you some tips on best operational practices.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we got that. What are give us another good kind of idea of a success with a pad split? Like what is like give us one of the keys to success of like a really good
I
pad
mean,
split.
again, it goes back to the whole idea that this is a hospitality business.
Okay.
So all the communication will happen on the PadSplit software, which the hosts will have access to. But treating your members like humans, being communicative, to their needs. If they submit a maintenance request,
Take care
letting
of
them
it.
know that you're on top of it, give them a timeline of when it's going to be fixed.
Communicate.
Also, kind of, for lack of a better word, training them on the expectations of the home. For maybe low level conflict between each other, they're adults. They can probably handle it. They don't need a landlord to mediate,
Right.
something small like that. But if it gets escalated and there's a need to involve PadSplit support, that's when we can step in to help.
Yeah, like even Airbnb, it's, people think like it's a hotel, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You're staying at a home
Right.
without all the, you don't have someone to take your luggage in. You don't
Right.
have someone to bring you extra towels
Right.
necessarily.
Yeah.
So I know I just heard a story of recently where someone was staying at an Airbnb for the first time, and they're doing like a multi-facet trip, and then so they got where they're going. They stayed at the Airbnb, and then they were gonna like doing a little adventure excursion, but they couldn't take their luggage, so they wanted to leave their luggage at the Airbnb. And it's like, no, it's not
that
it's
kind of
not
setup.
the front
Yeah.
desk. So
Right.
it's a different
It
mindset.
is.
So this is a different product, new, but catching on very quick,
Mhm.
being adopted well, but you have to understand what it is. It's
Right.
not it's not a hotel,
No.
it's not an Airbnb,
Yeah.
it's not a long-term rental,
Right.
it's a cohabitational.
Yeah. It takes some reframing from certain investors who kind of can't put themselves in the shoes of the members, but I mean, all of us have probably participated in co-living at some point, either with your families or in college.
Yeah.
Having a roommate is by definition co-living, but we just allow it to be operated pretty smoothly through our tech and then through the
Right.
vendor network that we have.
Yeah, because usually when you get a roommate, you choose who your roommate.
Right,
Someone, one of the people chooses
Yeah,
who the
yeah.
roommate is, and you can choose to live with it. But with PadSplit, you're not really choosing
No.
necessarily. You're kind of going into the situation.
Yeah, at the same time, we do have some processes to make sure everybody's kind of following the guidelines.
Right.
So we have a member-to-member rating system, a host-to-member rating system.
Oh.
If they fall below a certain threshold, their membership is at risk. Similarly, if they're non-paying and they have a balance of 300 or more when they move out, they're not allowed to rebook another room unless they pay that down.
Okay.
So in some ways, the system kind of weeds out the bad apples, and hopefully the good ones stay and
Pretty good
benefit
system.
from the platform. Yeah.
Now you mentioned membership.
Yes.
Explain that just a little bit.
Yeah. So technically, anybody who moves in is signing a membership agreement, and they are considered members. In this structure, it essentially circumvents the certain municipalities' maximum number of unrelated occupants allowed in a single-family
Oh.
property. So in this,
Because they're not related.
but they are related technically under this membership.
Right.
Yes.
Not like a family.
Exactly.
Related. They're related
It's-
through this membership.
Exactly. It's
So
not
that's
defined.
how you'd be able to get more
Right.
the 8, 9, 10, 11
Yes. Yes.
people
Yeah.
in one place.
Very exciting. In Colorado, statewide, they got rid of that limitation, so they essentially opened the doors for co-living. So that's probably one of the next markets we're going to be looking to get into.
Yeah, well, naturally, right?
Yeah.
But because you see it here in Arizona, you see it in Colorado, all over the country. Affordable housing
Yes,
is an issue.
exactly.
Even the studio apartments, which used to be the basics,
Mhm.
are getting pricey, especially
It's-
depending on the location.
Exactly right.
So you can still live in an area, and like you said last time, a lot of it's C plus, but some are in nicer areas, right?
Right.
And you can be in a nicer area, but be able to keep those costs down.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's maybe it's someone who is coming into an area to work for a while. Maybe it's someone who's just like, we see people like they're like, I work all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like what
Yeah.
what I just come home, sleep, shower,
Exactly.
change,
Exactly.
leave.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always get the question of whether or not, it's mostly students renting these rooms. We might get some students, but the median age is 35. I had a big host who had 60 rooms at some point, and she said 20% of her members were 55 plus.
Wow. Oh, so
So
there you go.
it spans the gamut. Most of the time, we're targeting kind of the minimum wage earner who's priced out of that studio,
Right.
that don't have the 5,000 or so liquid to be able to afford to move into a new place. First month's rent, last month's rent, deposit. not counting the move-in costs, furniture,
Yeah.
Wi-Fi, all of that. So the barrier to entry into a pad split room is very low, and it's very convenient to be able to,
Yeah.
pack a few bags and
I mean,
move
it's a
in.
great idea, like especially when you're, you see some people coming to Phoenix and they just move in and like, I don't know where, I just came and got a place because
Yeah.
I didn't know the areas and I didn't know where I wanted to go. This is an easy entry.
Easy.
You don't have to sit there and set up your whole apartment
Right.
and move in
Right.
and then figure out where you want to be and then move out.
Yep.
It's just, you're like, you come in with your bags,
Mm-hmm.
live,
Mm-hmm.
do your thing, and then when
Yeah.
you want to, you find out where you want to go,
Yeah.
you can go buy a
Yeah.
home or
Yeah. Yeah, it allows renters to be a lot more mobile these days with just the
Right.
flexibility and the ability actually to transfer within the PadSplit platform
Oh yeah, you can even go to a
Mhm.
different
Mhm.
location.
within the state, across states.
Wow.
Yeah,
So this is a great system.
yeah,
It
we're
has
excited.
this is not only just housing, but there's the technology aspect
Yes,
to it too.
exactly right. Yeah, we're excited. We just started 2 years ago, and we have already 800 rooms nationwide. We just broke 15,000 bedrooms across 20 cities or so. So big plans to grow, and we're filling a big need out there.
So if we're an investor and we want to go to a different state, like what are some of the states you're in right now?
From west to east, we're in Las Vegas, Metro Phoenix area in Arizona. In Texas, we're in San Antonio, Houston, Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth,
Oh wow.
Kansas City, New Orleans, Atlanta, our flagship market, a bunch of cities in Florida, Charlotte, Durham, DC, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, Philly, Pennsylvania.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, we're in a lot of the
Spread.
major cities, but a lot of them we're still not yet in. At some point, we'll get there.
Yeah, you can see just the way we're going, low inventory. This is a great system because you could take 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 households and boom, one house can solve the entire
Mm-hmm.
problem for 11
Mm-hmm.
different people.
Yeah, yeah,
So we don't have to build like giant 800
right.
apartments.
The stock is already there. So unlike Airbnb that earmarks that property for vacationers,
Right.
we take that same property, densify it a little bit, and then put it out on our marketplace where renters can directly book a room.
Right. And you can see where like, you see like municipalities not liking different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't like, people don't like things that are different.
Right.
So
That's
it's
what it
new,
is.
it's different. I don't understand
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I don't like it. But, like the Airbnbs, people, because people come and they're in and out, and they can create problems. But in this situation, people are living there.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, there's 8 different people living
Right.
here. They're going to cause problems. No, they live there. They're
Yeah.
near neighbors. They're in your community.
They are serving us. They're the bartenders, grocers, waiters,
Right.
warehouse people that are already living in that community, but they just can't afford to even
Right.
find a decent place where they live.
Yeah, because a lot of them probably have maybe 2 jobs.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, because you kind of hear that like minimum, you mentioned minimum wage, and there's a saying how, you hear a lot of times how people with minimum wages can't, or certain jobs, they can't support a family. Well,
Mhm.
it's not really meant to support a family. It's meant to support a person.
Right.
But even unfortunately, they're not always able to support
Not
themselves.
anymore, yeah.
They have to work 1 or 2 jobs.
Right.
But this is a way to kind of keep them going.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, what's the option? Become homeless? Like that's not great
We
either.
often have people living out of their cars right before moving into a pad split room.
Yeah.
And they're employed full time. They're not criminals. It's just a big unaffordability.
Yeah, there's just
issue.
I've seen certain people, they just get in a situation
Yeah.
and it kind of snowballs.
Yeah.
They catch themselves and
Yeah, life happens
and
sometimes.
then they're not, they don't have a place to live. They're kicked
Yeah.
out of their apartment.
Right, right.
This is a great way for them to get back
Yeah.
and help people.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people, they do want to help themselves. They don't want just charity. And then 2, sometimes when you kind of get into a system like that, it's hard to get out.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is a great way to help people,
Yeah.
help them get through and continue on.
Yeah, housing is a basic need, and if you don't have that settled, you can't really
Yeah.
think about
Everybody
anything
should
else
have it.
after.
Everybody
Yeah.
deserves to have
Yeah.
that housing and have a safe place to be.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, that's great. Okay, so this is another great way to make money in real estate. Obviously, there's different advantages. You're cash flowing. You're getting more money. Even right now with the higher interest rates and the increase in housing prices, by leveraging more people in a house, you can create more income, more
Right,
revenue.
right.
And additionally, when you're able to buy a property, you're able to get that equity,
Mhm.
over time. So it's a win-win for everybody on this
Right.
side. I just think that, a lot of people, either haven't heard about PadSplit, have heard a little bit, but don't understand it. So I really appreciate you
Yeah.
taking the time to break it down. So if we do have any more questions and want to know more about it, contact Ellis directly. Where should we contact you at?
Email's best, Ellis, Ellis, at padsplit.com. If you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook group, PadSplit Phoenix. I throw a couple of events per
Yeah,
month.
great events. I
Yeah.
saw one coming up.
Yeah, yeah, just to allow, the PadSplit community to network a little bit and
Yeah.
meet current
I've been
hosts.
to it before. There's other people there who have PadSplits, so you can ask them. There's also other people looking to get, so there are various steps and levels of progressing. So it's great to network, support group,
Yeah, yeah.
and get all your questions answered.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Ellis.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, take care. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.